Zoom LiveTrak L-8 and the Tascam Mixcast 4. In this video, I'm going to talk about my thoughts using these two recorder podcaster machines, multi-track machines, for podcasting. I'm not going to do an audio test of this. I'm just going to give my review after using them, give you the pros and cons of these two, and just to jump right ahead, I like the Tascam Mixcast 4 over the Zoom L8. I might even sell this Zoom because the Tascam is really all I need. This is for primarily multi-track podcasting, but then also I used this for ADR. I was doing a short film that needed audio dialogue replacement, and this worked. Both of these recorders are also USB interfaces, so they can record on the device itself. They both have SD cards. They can record internally, and all multi-tracked. And then you can connect it via USB to your computer and then use this on your computer. So if you have some kind of podcasting software or audio recording software on your computer, Mac or Windows, this works that way as well. Before I get into this, let me talk about alternative devices, I/O devices that you could use if you want to go directly into your computer, not have a separate recorder. So these are separate recorders, but if you want to go into your computer, here are some other devices that I've used that I recommend. The first one is this Behringer Q802 USB. This one has 2 tracks and a USB here. This goes into your computer. This does not have an audio recorder. This is just a mixer. And I've used this mixer to do 2 channels of audio podcasting. And this also I've done some DJ work, and I don't do a lot of DJ work, but this is really good for DJ work too, because you don't need that many connections when you're doing DJ. All of it's on my computer. I do different channels. I also use the line in and the aux and the USB. So you can use, when you connect this to your computer, it becomes a USB audio interface. And if you have Apple Music or some kind of a music software, Spotify, you can send it from your computer into this mixer in addition to whatever inputs you have. So when I'm DJing, I have multiple devices. I have an iPad, an iPod, and I connect this to my computer, and all 3 devices I'm able to stream out into a PA system. And for this, it's only a quarter inch out. That's the main outs are a 1/4 inch. So I have a stereo out that I put to the PA system, and I do very well with this. And this could be used for podcasting. It's relatively affordable, and the USB is key. This is just a great, solid device. I've had this for years, and I very much rely on this. The next one up from that Behringer is I have another one. I have its bigger brother. This one is the X1204 USB, and I've had this for many years as well. And this is for more heavy-duty work. The main outputs are XLR, so it's balanced outputs, and it has other multiple outputs if you want to send to other PA systems. Also USB interface. It works the same way as the other one did, but you have more inputs and more effects and more things to play with. This one's a little more expensive, but this can also be used for multi-track podcasting. There's no recorder in here, but you can use this. It's very reliable. Music, podcasting, sound effects. This is a great mixer. Then stepping really low, I have this Rode system that I got. I haven't used a ton, but if you have an iPhone, iPad, or Android, a phone, and you want to podcast from your phone, this device here is pretty useful because it splits the audio channels or the inputs. So usually recorders have a stereo track, so you have a left and a right channel. By using this, it splits the channels. So I don't have the lavalier microphones or a shotgun microphone, but what you can do is you plug in one mic here, one lav mic here, and then one headphones. It only unfortunately comes with one headphones, but you can get a splitter cable. You connect this to your phone, and then you can either use the included lightning cable to USB if you have an older iPhone. The new iPhones now have a USB-C. And then you have this USB-C to USB-C cable. It comes with this device here. This is the AI Micro. And then you plug this into your computer or your phone or Android phone, Mac, and you can have a podcast using this and some kind of app. Like Rode has its own app. There are a bunch of other podcasting apps. So you connect one lavalier microphone to one person, one to the other person, and you can get audio that way for a podcast on your phone or tablet. I recommend this. I promise I'm going to talk about this, but this is a new toy of mine. Tascam Portacapture X6. There's an X8, but I got the X6 because the X6 is more portable. It's smaller. So you have two inputs, two XLR inputs here, and then you can use the stereo input here. There's also a mic in right there. That's a stereo. So you have multiple tracks of audio. You can do two, and then you could podcast with this device. This can connect into your computer as well. It's a USB interface. Where's the USB side? USB-C. You connect this to your computer, and you also have, I think this is a micro SD card. So you can record internally and then also stream to your device. I think this could even do your iPad tablet devices. And then you can have 2 channels or a fourth channel. And then you can also use these, have a bigger mix for your podcast. I would use something like this if I were doing live music, because these microphones are pretty good. And this is also a 32-bit recorder, internal. And I would use this for music if I'm live streaming music and podcasting, or I'm doing a live band. I'm live streaming a band, an acoustic band, and I want it low key, and I don't want to have a bunch of mics because maybe I can't afford it. You get this thing. This is I think it's about $300 right now. And if you need more inputs, if you need 2 more inputs, you get the X8. This is the X6. So this one's a good recorder, and it's all not a touch screen, but it has a big interface here, colored interface that you can go through a lot of different settings, and they even have presets for podcasting. And my final one before I get to these two is another recorder that I have. It's the Zoom F3. The Zoom F3, this has been out for a little longer than the Tascam over there. This is only a 2-channel audio recorder, but this does 32-bit float internal, and then this has a USB-C. This also has power, but it's powered and also USB. Connects to your computer, and you can use this as an audio interface as well into your computer. So you have 2 channels, podcasting, 2 channels. I believe you can record at the same time as stream. I think someone can fact check me about that. And once it's plugged in to the computer, it has unlimited power. That's where it gets its power, and it also connects to. So you don't need to power it up with these AA batteries here. This one might be a little complicated for people because there's a lot of options. But this one, there's really nothing you can. It's as soon as you plug it in, you hit record and you're good to go. Or you plug it into your computer, you're good to go. Look how small this is. If you're traveling and you're only going to record 2 people for a podcast, the F3 is good. And it's like $350, I think. Like I said earlier, I'm going with the Mixcast 4, and mostly because the interface is easier for me to use. I'm not a podcaster. I do a little audio, but I'm not a professional podcaster. I'm not that into the audio tech. So the Tascam is easier to just turn on and start using versus the Zoom, which I think the Zoom has a lot more features in it that you really have to dig into the menus, and you really got to know by reading the manual. The Tascam, this is a touch screen. Everything's touch. it even gives you information on how to instructions on how to do things. I can't tell the difference in sound quality. That's why I'm not doing a sound quality test, because to my ear, they're exactly the same. And the kind of mics that I'm using for the podcast, on the low end, I use these. This is the Audio-Technica AT2005 USB. I have 2 of them. These are really cheap. I think they're under $60 or $40. I got these on sale. The only thing you got to get to accessorize it is get one of these. Oh, this one's got a little busted. But get these windscreens, these microphone windscreens, because it does have, it picks up breath a little bit. So you put these on. I have one for each. And then they're these are USB. They can go directly into your computer, which is good. So if you're doing it that way, you can use these in that manner. But I like to use the XLR. Put the XLR into these mics. They're dynamic. They really don't require that much. I don't think they require phantom power. They might. I don't know if I use it or not. I don't think I did. But I plugged them in, and then I have multiple of these, and I give them to all of the podcasting people that are in the podcast. And the other thing that's good about this, besides the price, the quality is good, and it really isolates the voice. So it has good off-axis rejection. So if you have 2 people, one person's here, one person's there, and then you point it like this, and you put it right up to their mouths, this mic is not going to pick up the other person, and vice versa. But it also is not so concentrated where the person can also be a little bit off-axis to the mic, and it'll still be picked up. So it's a great middle ground, great price. I have multiple of these Audio-Technica AT USB 2005 USBs. Highly recommend these if you're on a budget. If you have more money to spend, you're in the $100 range, then get the Rode podcast, those podcast mics. When it comes to the interface, let me just demonstrate that real quick on why I like this better. To power these devices, the Mixcast comes with its own powered here AC wall. And this is the only way to power the Tascam. I think you could. I tried to plug it in USB into my computer. I'm not sure. I don't remember if the USB can power this. I think I also had it plugged in. But the USB can power the Zoom, which I'll talk about later. Let me just plug this one in first. You can see the interface here, how easy it is. These are sound pads to trigger sound effects. Or it can trigger other things if you're doing a live podcast session. The Zoom does not have that. So everything here, you can hit the menu, and as you can see how easy it is to just touch screen and turn things off. The compressor, you can change the inputs. Here's where you can do the inputs. You can turn on phantom power. You can have limiters. You can have a lot of features with just touch screen, which is great. It's if you're used to touchscreens, everyone should be used to touchscreens now. This is fantastic for that application. I don't know if you're using this outside, you might have an issue with sun and glare, and then the touchscreen might not be as useful. And that's where the Zoom is probably better if you're outdoors or in bright sunlight. But look how cool this is. Really easy to use, no problems with the Mixcast 4. Now, when it comes to the Zoom, the advantage with the Zoom compared to the Mixcast 4 is the multiple power options you have with the Zoom. Since there's no big digital device screen that this needs to power, it's all powered through USB. Here's USB micro to USB A, and then it comes with this AC adapter, or you can plug this plugs directly into your computer. This is, I believe, 5 volts? So you can also have a phone battery bank, a power bank that you can charge your phone with. And you plug that into the battery bank, and then that also can power the device, power the L-8 remotely. You could be on the road with this. This also takes AA batteries. Well, there's batteries right here. So it can be powered by batteries. It can be powered by the computer. It can be powered by the wall. Or you can use a battery bank. And there's really nothing going on. I like that there's a hard switch here, an on-off switch. In fact, everything about the L-8, I like that there's switches and buttons and they all feel different and you know where things are. If you've used other mixers, if you're an audio engineer and you're used to the manual analog controls, you want to get the L-8. The Mixcast 4 are for people that don't know anything like me and that need to touch and need things spelled out for them. If you already have the experience, I think you might get more value out of the L-8 and for similar price points. So here is a hard on-off switch so you know it's on or off. Here's where the SD card, a full SD card is, only one. And then there's really nothing else around here. This is really light, as you can see how I pick it up. This is lighter than those other mixers by the Behringer. And all of the controls are seen through this non-colored LCD here, very small. But you can see this in bright daylight. And I think this is designed to be used in the field. So if you're trying to track music, this is perfect for it. If you're at a venue, at a coffee shop, and you want to record, I don't know, a mix of a podcast with a band, with a live band, acoustic band, this has 8 tracks of audio, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has 6 inputs. This is both XLR and quarter-inch inputs. And then you also have, I think, some other line-in inputs. So if you have a bass guitarist, a keyboardist, they can also plug in here. And just in summary, the main differences, the main use cases would be music versus just dialogue and talking. This can do both, but this cannot do music as well. It could do it, but you only have 4 tracks. This, the Zoom, it's designed for a musician, live music. And that might be all you need to know. If you're going to record live music and you want to be portable, the LiveTrak L-8, that's the device to get. If you're never going to use music, or you'll sometimes use 1 or 2 instruments, then the Mixcast 4 is great. When it comes to just podcasting, if you're a complete newbie, the Mixcast 4. If you have a little bit more experience or you need more tracks than 4, go with the Zoom here. And I'm going to get some close-up shots of the knobs here. All of these buttons, they all feel good. It's somewhat cheap, and plastic, but they feel good. They feel good. They feel like they're going to last. I had one technical issue when I was using the L-8 where I was doing a podcast with, I think, 7 people, or 6. There were 6 people, and then a 7th, I had to use one of these other inputs with an adapter. And I just didn't know what I was doing. I did not read the instructions. So there were some channels that I did not record. And I don't know how that happened. I thought I enabled all of the tracks to record, but after that podcast session, I realized that, oh crap, it missed a few of the tracks. This has never faulted me, but because this is more analog and you gotta kind of know what you're doing with this, I messed up. Now let me just give some close-ups of the Mixcast 4, and then I'll call this video a day. Okay, here's the interface. This one feels a lot nicer. These buttons feel really good. It's bigger and it's heavier. That could be a drawback for you. This is bigger and heavier. The bottom, got nothing there. And here is where you have the on-off switch, the DC input power. Looks like it's 12 volts. These are 4 quarter-inch headphone outs, and you have headphone outs you can control here. Same thing with this. And that's a benefit of these kinds of mixers for podcasters. If you have multiple people that need headphones and they need their own preamps because they want to control the audio that they hear in their headphones, this one has 4 outputs here, plus 1 for the main. So you can control their outputs, each person's headphones. Same thing with this. You have 4 outputs. Here's the SD card. It's a full SD card. USB-C. Monitor out, they're quarter-inch. This monitor out has XLR balanced. And then here are some other inputs. This one has a line in. This one can take a TRRS. The Zoom as well can take a TRRS. These are used for if you're doing, say, a podcast with a call-in show, or if you're doing an interview with somebody over the phone. You can plug your phone's TRRS or using an adapter and go directly in here, and then the phone can have its own audio channel in both of these recorders and mixers, and you can mix in the audio. This one is a little bit more featured for that. I think this has Bluetooth maybe, so you can connect via Bluetooth. This one I don't think this one has Bluetooth. And then here are your 1/4-inch combo jacks, quarter and XLR. You have 4 of them. And up top, you can control, enable, and all that right there. When I was in high school, I had a rock band, and I had something similar to just this device. It was a Yamaha. I forgot what model number, but it was a Yamaha recorder that recorded digitally, but it burned it to CDs. And it was really expensive when I got it. I think it was like over $1,000. And when you're in high school, that's a lot of money back then. If I had this kind of technology, it would blow my mind. Like what you can do with either of these are amazing. But if you're a musician, wow, the LiveTrak L-8. This is good for music, and no, not music. Portable, not as portable. And then earlier, I showed all those other devices that you can use as well. But I recommend both of these, but I'm sticking with the Tascam Mixcast 4 as my favorite multi-tracked podcaster for the 4 tracks.